Hey folks, this is Diane, and I'm with my good friend Kris from Las Vegas. Hi Kris, and how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you, Diane?
Well, I'm doing just great, and I'm having a great day. It's been fun talking with you, and we are doing some of the greatest interviews that we've ever done.
Definitely.
So Kris, huh?
Yeah, this has all been exciting. I've just been glad to do interviews with you, so it's been great.
Okay, well good. Well Kris, what is the definition of what we're going to be talking about? What are we going to talk about, and what does it mean?
Pretty much we're going to talk about wealth and abundance, and how you can sort of create your mindset so that you're focusing on wealth and the reasons why you're creating wealth and how it can be used as a force of good.
Oh, okay. So wealth and wealth creation. So why is this important to know a lot about what wealth really is and how to create an abundant life?
I think it's very important because, most of us want to have that life of fulfillment and happiness, and having the freedom, to spend, time with family and friends and just doing what excites you and what you're passionate about. And one of the ways to get there is having accumulate wealth, which will provide you the resources that will lead to you having time freedom, which then leads to relationship freedom. And I know that many people out there associate wealth as being the root of all evil or not being such a good thing, but I think we need to learn how to condition our minds to think of wealth as being a force of good, having you control money rather than having money control you, which is where the negative perception of wealth comes into place.
So when you're saying, letting you control money, you control having, a lot of people say money is the root of all evil, and they're talking about, well, why do we have to have, why do we have to have a set standard about getting wealthy? But when we don't have a set standard, we start going back to these ideas that we were programmed to when we were young, as we were growing up, saying, wealthy people, they're snobby, they're stuck up, they're not the same as us, so we don't want to really be a part of them. So why would I want to control my wealth and have control over any kind of lifestyle that I've never had?
Sure. That's a very good question, and I used to be one of those where, I was conditioned to think that, wealth could be evil, wealthy people could be snobby or stuck up. But then as I joined the network marketing industry, I started to meet a lot of successful people who are wealthy, yet they're the most down-to-earth and most compassionate people I've ever met in my lifetime. So that sort of changed my perception of wealthy people. You have a group out there, who do fit that sort of stereotype that they could be snobby and don't care. But then there's also a larger percentage of wealthy people out there who sort of keep under the radar, the type of people that you don't see portrayed in Hollywood as being flashy or flamboyant or stuck up. But they're down to earth. And I know when they accumulated their wealth allowed them to achieve time freedom, the ability to make up their own schedule and decide when they're gonna do some work and when they're gonna be spending time with family and friends. And I also believe that wealth gives you the resources that you can use as a force of good. I've seen wealthy people out there who are giving a chunk of their wealth to charity or donating their time, working for non-for-profits or giving their time to community service as well. And because that they were able to accumulate the financial resources to live not just a comfortable lifestyle, but also to have enough time to do these activities that serve the greater purpose out there, which is being of service to other people.
Yes, I agree with you. Conditioning yourself for wealth, you've got to think about your values. You've got to think about not only I'm going to get wealthy and I'm going to have it all. No, you've got to start thinking about who you're going to give it to along the way. You know, the book Think and Grow Rich.
Oh yes, definitely. I've read it once and I'm reading it for the second time.
Yeah.
Great book.
That has been one of the most popular books and the most widely used books because it talks about the wealth and what are you going to do with it. Are you going to get wealthy? Well, yeah, we would all like to be that way. And only 5%, 6% of our population in the United States are wealthy. And you wonder, why is that? Well, it's how we conditioned ourselves, what we thought wealth really was, and why we haven't been that way. We've got negative ideas, negative thoughts about what wealth is. But we lose, so many people lose wealth because they haven't conditioned their minds to think about that they are wealthy. They start giving it away to not the needy, but to everybody. But they don't think about, why should I condition myself first?
Right.
So, Kris, what's the first step you really got to take to condition yourself for wealth?
I think the first step I need to take is, shifting the way I think about, wealth not being a source of evil or root of evil, but a force of good. And the way that I did it is I started to connect with a couple of, wealthy and successful individuals out there, reading books that were written by multimillionaires who have a track record to back themselves up. And what I've noticed is that they've all said the same thing, is you need to have that mindset of accumulating wealth and then using that wealth for the greater good, or I guess, serving a greater purpose, like, setting up charities or donating time. And that's what I've noticed with these people, like what they've done.
Right. Yes. It's not just becoming wealthy, but it's sharing. We all have to share. There's a lot of ideas, a lot of things to do. Well, Kris, what would happen, we know about the first step to take and everything, and wealth is condition yourself for wealth, change your mindset, change your attitude about life and what people have and what you can do with this wealth once you have it.
Right.
But what if some of these people decided, I don't have to condition myself for wealth. I don't have to worry. If I won the lottery, I'd have it all and nobody would care. But what if I lost it?
Right, that's a very interesting question that you brought out about lottery winners, because they're not conditioned how to manage wealth. So when they accumulate wealth in such a fast period of time, they tend to lose their wealth within the next 5 years, or probably end up in a worse situation. And studies have shown, I think it's 85% or 90% of lottery winners end up losing it all, and putting themselves in worse situations.